Doctor Who will soon be returning to our screens, with Jodie Whittaker taking over as the 13th Doctor. The casting of a female Doctor is probably the single biggest thing to happen to the show since the first regeneration, way back in 1966. So, what better time to look back at each of the Doctor's eras so far? Join me for the trip of a lifetime as I recap the very best of each era, revealing some of my favourite Doctor episodes and moments along the way. The first Doctor's era is unique for its sense of discovery and wonder, inspired in part by Sidney Newman's request for the series to educate and inform younger viewers, as well as to entertain them. This is something echoed brilliantly in Big Finish's recent range of First Doctor adventures, the feeling of discovery and wonder and of exploring new places. Also in these early days, there's a lack of established continuity for the show to be self-conscious of, so the stories always feel fresh, new and exciting. Though perhaps not as developed as more recent Doctors in terms of an individual story arc, the first Doctor himself is nevertheless an important incarnation. He established what the Doctor should be like, and Hartnell's performance has surely inspired all the actors to come after him in some way. He brought an integrity to the role that made the character consistently convincing. He's crotchety and rather distant at times, but also there's a hint of grandfatherly care for his companions, which is something I really like, especially as he gets to know them. He builds that trust and builds that relationship with them. To me, there is something fundamentally magical about this era, partially because so many of its episodes aren't available to watch now because they're missing from the BBC archives. Those episodes were experienced just once, many years ago, and might never be experienced in the same way again if they're never found. Even the stories that have survived can't quite be experienced in exactly the same way that they were originally. That is the way that they were designed to be watched on a small black and white TV set in a 60s living room. And as time goes on, there are fewer and fewer people still alive that remember watching Doctor Who's early episodes in this way. And so for that reason, much of the first Doctor's era is shrouded in mystery. So yes, some of the stories are missing, some of them are a bit overlong and slow compared to what we're used to these days in terms of pace, and yes, it's all filmed in black and white, but I'd encourage you to see these things as strengths, not weaknesses. I don't think it's possible to fully appreciate the first Doctor's era until you've accepted and understood that the whole black and white nature of it, or the whole mysteriousness of not being able to watch all the stories, is sort of integral to the era and part of its charm. And it's taken me a while to realise this myself, admittedly, but now that I do, I enjoy watching the first Doctor's stories more than I ever have before. So out of those I've seen, which are my favourite first Doctor stories? An Unearthly Child. It's the one that starts the show off, and it does so perfectly. Part 1 in particular is a great example of what Doctor Who should be. It combines the ordinary with the extraordinary, drawing the viewer into the mysterious world of the Doctor. The Dalek invasion of Earth. An epic story that sees the Daleks invading Earth for the very first time. There's a great sense of peril throughout, and some iconic location work that really helps to give the effect of a large-scale invasion. Plus, the final scene is one of the most heartbreaking in Doctor Who history. The Gunfighters. The first episode of this story is titled A Holiday for the Doctor, and that's precisely what The Gunfighters is. A light-hearted departure from some of the more sci-fi orientated episodes that doesn't take itself too seriously, but is fun for exactly that reason. The Wild West set is seriously impressive for a 60s budget too. The War Machines. It's significant for being the first Doctor Who story to be set fully on contemporary Earth. The BT/post office tower is used to great effect as the headquarters of Wotan, and the design of the tank-like war machines is nothing less than iconic. The 10th Planet, an action-packed story that paves the way for the next era of the show, being the first to fit into the Base Under Siege category and the first to feature a regeneration. It also sees the first appearance of the Cybermen in their creepy Mondasian form. For my favourite moment, I'd have to pick the very first time we see the interior of the TARDIS in An Unearthly Child. For original viewers, it must have been so strange to learn that the Doctor's ship is bigger on the inside, and probably slightly overwhelming too. But this scene also encapsulates the wonder and possibility of Doctor Who for me. The TARDIS is an impossible machine that can travel anywhere in time and space. It's a truly iconic moment, and one that's still just as magical to watch over 50 years later. What do you love about the first Doctor's era? Post your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to join me next week as I take a look back at the second Doctor's era.